Greetings, I'm Solidus-Skully, and welcome back to Sonic X Shadow Generations, where the plot is indeed, well, getting a bit more interesting. For one thing, Jill Robotnik and Maria Robotnik? Alive? Well, we've kind of already known that for a while now, but more importantly, they've met Shadow again. And, yes, it seems Mr. Gerald suspects Shadow isn't the same one that he knows. But yeah, given the fact that we can actually talk to people in this game, unlike Frontiers, yeah, you do get a bit of interesting flavor text and, indeed a bit of history of the characters that we didn't actually know beforehand. But, yeah, we're gonna get to some of the juicier bits a little bit later when we talk to them after a couple more levels' time, but still, it is nice that we do get to interact with these characters a little bit more and, well, again, if I can say anything about the plot, well, it does once again cover old ground of, oh no, Shadow's past with Gerald and Maria Robotnik that, admittedly, I guess you could say was played out even by the time of Shadow's own game. I will at least give, you know, Generation some credit that it at least does something different with it. And this is in the sense that Shadow gets to actually interact with flesh and body, you know, autonomous, well, if that's even the correct turn of phrase to use, the physical representations of what Gerald and Maria Robotnik are. So, their interactions in this game have a little bit more weight to them than, you know, arguably Shadow's game, and, well, I'm not going to say Sonic Adventure 2, because that one was just drawing upon memories and what was the truth and what was false. Whereas here, well, again, they actually get to interact again, and even though, well, Shadow has had years worth of experience, you know, beyond what he would have had back on board the Ark, I don't know, it is nice to see a more or less present-ish day Shadow interact with the past-ish day Maria and Gerald, which is all I'm going to say for now, because you'll be seeing those interactions as we carry on. But in the meantime, however, we have our next boss arena to get to, and yes, you do have to get to the boss arena first before you access any of the challenge acts. On repeat playthroughs, this can be a bit of a sort of, okay, I want to get to the rest of the game now. You know, in that sort of typical whingy, I want it all, I want it now, in usual Veruca Salt fashion, but again, that's really just only for the sake of expedience. I take it was probably borrowed from Sonic Generations in the sense that, again, that was pretty much using white space as a 2D hub area, so again, you didn't really have to go too far in order to get to your destination, whereas here, well, you have a bit more to explore, but again, this isn't your typical Assassin's Creed open world fuckabout where you have to rely on slow-ass running speed because you're a super fast hedgehog who can run at the speed of sound, as the coolest hedgehog around. Got to run a noodle kitchen, stuck in a noodle kitchen, something Sonic X theme song, whatever. The salient point I'm trying to make is that area traversal, both in this and Frontiers, is fun because, well, you're the fastest thing alive. You don't exactly need a fast travel option because you are the fast travel option. But anyway, with creative usage out of your Doom Blast abilities, you can find more hidden chests and get some more tasty artwork. By the way, incidentally, I was just watching a couple of videos today where I heard that Activision was actually skimping out on like the 5 to 6, or at least in the dozens of the amount of artists that they have, and ended up skimping out by using AI artwork in lieu of their actual artists that they still have in their employ. So yeah, Activision being cheapskates. I suppose to a lot of people I know the news water is wet, but you know, it does surprise me that you have a bunch of artists in your employ who could create talented works of art, and instead you choose to use cheap-ass, computer-made robot shit just to save a couple of bucks. I'd say I shouldn't be surprised from the corporate perspective, but I mean, really, curious to see what sort of developments come in terms of law and copyright. Well, not even necessarily copyright use, it's more like a fair work doctrines that come in the wake of, you know, artificial intelligence, and its application to the creative arts, because, I mean, even voice actors themselves have been getting involved in that kind of thing. So, it is quite curious. And in fact, another funny example before we continue on our way to completing bonus missions is that, yeah, I recall, I think it was one of the DC films actually got a bit of in trouble for using artificial intelligence for recreating dead actors whose, you know, families and estates didn't give permission, so, whoopsie doodles, Warner Brothers, you're in hot shit. But in any case, though, yeah, side missions are plenty again. So, of course, quite naturally, as I've been very stalwart to do, it's time to talk more about bangin' tunes! Because, God knows, I don't really have much else to say about the stage gimmicks. This one primarily making use out of the, Rising Pillar stuff that you saw beforehand, so, don't get crushed, or fall off like a dumbass. It requires you to be patient, and also making great use out of your chaos control. Yes, utilizing your abilities. except for actual skillful gameplay and puzzle solving, not just because you're an asshole. In any case, so, yeah, banging tune of the day, Radical Train, The Chase, from Sonic the Hedgehog 2006. Now, that isn't to say that Bradley Walsh is going to appear out of nowhere and start saying the chase is on, where Shadow has to compete in a game show, but no, instead it's, there when Sonic had to chase after Elisa's train, and, I believe it was another mission where Shadow also had to chase after Dr. Eggman's own train, but, yeah, whatever. Anyway, the point is that it's, I didn't really have any other tracks that really felt appropriate, and, I did want something 06 related, so, figured, fuck it, why not, but, yeah, not one of my favorites, but, yeah, serviceable enough for a Chase the Thing mission. But in any case, so, again, I've said before what I've said before with a lot of the other side missions in this game, and, yeah, I guess I could also talk about, again, to once again go back on that Sonic Forces train. Yeah, you know, hazard placement and, well, hazard enemy placement and, also, you know, usage of traps, dynamics, and, mechanics in order to make a very satisfying stage. The reason why I bring up Forces was because I remember, and again this was back in 2017, I think for a Japanese-only show, where Sonic Team actually gave a demonstration about Sonic Forces' level design and how proud they were of it, in terms of, you know, placing hazards, what creates satisfying gameplay, and again, I'm sure a lot of people are, you know, scoffing right now because Sonic Forces, challenging game design, but I mean, I guess it was meant to be in terms of less for, you know, hardcore Sonic fans who play the games to death and more for casual players, because I remember for Christmas, actually, I ended up actually, well, not this Christmas, but that is to say, Christmas of, I think about 2 years ago, is that I actually gave my sister a copy of Sonic Forces because I really fucking hated her. I'm kidding, I love my sister, but, anyway, I gave her a copy of Sonic Forces because, you know, she recently picked up a Switch and, you know, she wanted some games to test it out with, and I thought, Sonic Forces, that'd be an easy enough game for her to play, and, you know, something before she gets, like, a new Mario Kart or, Smash Brothers kind of thing. But yeah, she ended up actually having a lot of trouble with a lot of the stages, and again, she isn't like me who plays Sonic games a lot, or, well, really ever, as far as I know, so, yeah, like, I mean, seeing a lot of people struggle on things that I thought would have been otherwise easy for newcomers was, a bit eye-opening for me, which again is why I talk about, you know, stage mechanics, level dynamics, and that kind of thing as well, because, yeah, I mean, I kind of brought this up in a lot of Sonic game commentaries of the past, but again, like, I mean, if you have the ability to sort of instantly go past with a push of a boost button or a spin dash, then a lot of newcomers seem to be under the pretense that you should. So, yeah, again, it's, it takes a certain mindset to really get used to how Sonic games flow and function, really, so I guess maybe that was what necessitated Sonic Team's sense of, lackluster, easy design for, Frontiers. I don't know. It, well, not Frontiers, I mean for Forces. Jesus. I don't know. I mean, it does sort of go to show how they've improved over the years with Frontiers, and indeed this game sort of building upon their skill set and making things that are both fun for returning Sonic fans, but as well as, you know, newcomer audiences, or so I assume anyway. They seem to do pretty well, and I can imagine that, you know, the inclusion of the Sonic movie is intended to get a few movie fans invested into the games in some capacity, so, yeah, who knows. I mean, I don't know, I mean, I guess that might have been part of the marketing strategy with Year of the Shadow. Because, I mean, you know, I mean, it wasn't just like a basic, like, oh, let's include a stage from the movie. No, they did actually get Keanu Reeves to, you know, voice that version of Shadow in this game, so... Yeah, I think they are... Well, I mean, again, Keanu Reeves has done a lot of video game work in the past. I mean, he's done Constantine, Enter the Matrix, and, obviously he was, you know, Johnny Rocket Leagues from fucking Cyberpunk 1977, so... You know, he has done his fair share of video game work beforehand, so, yeah. Shadow comes as no surprise, really, but, I don't know. It's, quite curious to see how this game would stack up to newcomers. I mean, I suppose, I, at the very least, and, you know, a fair amount of other fans enjoy it because, you know, it's more Shadow content and more, you know, stuff on the backstory of Shadow the Hedgehog and, you know, elements that we enjoy discovering, but, I don't know. It's, gonna be interesting to see what sort of cross-pollination we get. And, yeah, as you can see here, I'm pretty much just sort of going from level to level and strength to strength at this stage, primarily because, well, just for the sake of expediency, some of these parts can get a bit long-winded, and, you know, I am recording multiple parts on the Saturday, as I mentioned, like, 2 parts ago, so, you know, my poor throat, it needs beer, and Pepsi, and food to sustain itself, so, yes. In any case, though, yeah, Frozen Junkyard from Team Sonic Racing has a very surfer-like theme, and again, it was a major crime that they didn't get fucking Airfleet into this game. The ultimate Doom surfing, dude, soundtrack that you could have put in the game, but you didn't. Oh well. Anyway, this stage, it's over now, but it was pretty much there to pretty much utilize your sideswipe abilities to, you know, destroy as many boxes as you can. Keep that under your hat, because it might come in handy for the boss.
I don't know, just call it a hunch.
In any case, Soliana has been restored. I'm sure Princess Elise and her financial advisors are probably very happy about this turn of events. And now we can finally move on to Sunset Heights. Yeah, I don't think I've talked to Big the Cat at this stage anyway, so, I mean, again, I'm not exactly shedding any fucking tears, but, you know, I mean, I will say how a lot of this game and, you know, some of the series has handled him as a pretty chill character as opposed to remember meme from game. Yeah, it's a bit better this decade than it has been in a while, so... nothing really to worry about, except when I get burpy, because I had too much to drink. That is to say Pepsi, I haven't been drinking any alcohol for this commentary. Yet. This could very well turn into a Simpsons Hidden Run and Gex 3 debacle quite soon, but in the meantime though... Yeah, let's give the last of the bolts that we need for this rocket. And I mean, seriously, apart from a paint job, it looks barely any different, so this rocket looks like it could probably take off right now. Oh well, but I mean, this is pretty much going to be the last time you see it before, you know, we do our little cleanup videos, so, yeah, let's just say that the plot twist for the rocket is, well, shocking. But, in any case, though, off to Sunset Heights, where we do some dancing, we do some dining in the hell, and, of course, we pick out a banging tune. Why do I call it a tune? No idea. It's just I hear British people talking about their tunes, and I just gotta say it like that now. What do I go with? Black Bull, I summon you. So anyway, yeah, this mission is pretty much utilizing us, again, rather than having, you know, the Death Egg robot also, you know, fire at us from the stage, instead we control it by pressing the buttons over there, so, yeah, we control the stage, has it to pretty much make our way there and get to the goal ring as fast as we can. Anyway, now that I just sort of remembered after my little, Black Doom impersonation, yeah, Black Doom himself, you might be wondering who voices him in this game. He's not voiced by Sean Schemmel as he was in, you know, Shadow the Hedgehog, which, according to nerdy trivia, he was also the voice of that guy from Dragon Ball Z, known as Sun. Yes. But yeah, he's not voiced by Sean Schemmel, although I do seem to recall reading somewhere that he did try to reprise his role, but, yeah, didn't end up happening for some reason. But, yeah, instead he's voiced by, Ben Diskin, who, again, a pretty prolific voice actor all throughout, you know, voices that nerd from Ratchet & Clank 2, Rockero from Tales of Berseria, blah, blah. And he's also the voice of young Xehanort from Kingdom Hearts, so, yeah. I mean, again, he does a pretty decent job with the role, but it is obvious that he... And again, I don't know if it's specifically him or maybe Sonic Team that didn't think he was quite up to it, because there is a lot heavier distortion on his voice as opposed to Sean Schemmel, who seemed to be able to, you know, sort of do that whole, "Oh, Shadow, I will kill you," voice a little bit more naturally than what Ben could produce, which, I mean, isn't a slight on Ben Diskin at all. It just seems like, I don't know, either Sonic Team wanted to play with visual effects, or, I don't know, I guess I just didn't think he was up to the task, but, I don't know, I think he does a decent job, so, really, I don't think there was much of a need to really sort of, like, add a bit more bass to his voice. I mean, the only thing I think they really added to Sean Schemmel's voice in a Shadows game was, I think, just, like, a bit of reverb, but that's really about it. In any case now, more ring missions, so there's no time to waste. And, yeah, utilizing more songs from, Sonic Forces, which, I mean, again, in spite of all I can say about that game, apart from maybe some of the Sonic songs in that game, particularly the classic Sonic songs, which are a bit, kinda kappa shit. Yeah, the techno tunes, which are mainly used for the Avatar stages, pretty fucking good. That's why I'm giving them representation here as banging tunes. So, that's pretty much all she wrote. Yeah, bit of a shame these missions can be quite short if you know what you're doing, but, there we go, that's all she wrote, and, we're done. You succeeded! You hear that, everybody? I succeeded. Take that, my fucking English teacher who said that I failed. This game said I succeeded. And that's all that you need to know. So yes, was this entire commentary thing a means of Solidus-Skully getting back at his school teachers for daring to doubt his abilities? Well, I mean, I sincerely doubt that. I mean, God knows what they're fucking doing these days, but whatever. They were just babysitting a bunch of cretinous monkeys, and I'm just here carving out a meager existence. Nobody wins, so we all just live in Central City. In the meantime, however, yeah, more of a challenge thing, as we pretty much do this little rise things up and avoid the balls. Yeah, they nearly got shadowed by the balls of spiky proportions. But yeah, I mean, with a lot of these stages, and again, another stage again we might as well talk about, yeah, those little springs that require you to pretty much utilize your Chaos Spears. You can actually get hit from the back of them, so, you know, don't run into them like a dumbass, because otherwise you will take a hit, and you will look rather foolish, and Maria will be overshadowed with a band-aid and medical kit, and Shadow will be like, "Oh, Maria, you saw me weak, yeah, I don't like this." But whatever, we seranked it, just as the Lord had intended. And off we go. Yes, indeedy, we couldn't go through Sunset Heights without Fist Bump by Douglas Robb of Hoobastank. Not involving the entire band, mind you, but just Douglas Robb, which, I'm sure it's been mentioned before, but I do kind of wish that, I mean, maybe not necessarily with Fist Bump, but at least maybe Hoobastank had written their own original track, or at the very least, brought in the rest of the band to sort of cover the song, because, I mean, not that Tomoyo Otani's composition is necessarily bad, it's just that, I don't know, I mean, it feels like a track that was designed to be instrumental, but then later decided to have vocals added over it. And I mean, it's not that Douglas Robb, I think, is a bad vocalist either. I mean, I think he's pretty good with a lot of his Hoobastank stuff, and, I mean, if you want living proof of that, I highly recommend you check out the song, Crawling in the Dark by Hoobastank, because, to be honest, every time I've listened to that song, I honestly thought that would make for a perfect Sonic the Hedgehog soundtrack, and, you know, I mean, they've definitely got the chops for it, it's just that, you know, I feel like maybe some harder edge guitars, or maybe some less cheesy lyrics could have easily made it, pretty cool. But, I mean, even still, though, like, I mean, cheesy as it might have been, like, I mean, the very anime-sounding Fist Bump, it is quite juvenile in a bit of a Team Sonic We Can or Sonic Heroes kind of way, but I don't know. In some way, I feel like it does sort of bizarrely fit Sonic Forces' very faux darkness, cheesy, light-tastic tone, which, I mean, again, say what you will about Forces, but I mean, it does have an eclectic soundtrack that does fit for what it sets out to do. Whether or not people like it is anybody's guess, but all the same, yeah, it has a vibe and it sticks to it, I suppose, but in any case, so I feel like the point I'm trying to make is that Fist Bump does have a vibe that fits the theme, even if its theme is flawed. So, anyway, onwards to new adventure, where we have to use these gushes of sewer water. Sure, that must be lovely as a little enema for Shadows the Hedgehog, where he's using his pocket to store the Chaos Emeralds. In any case, no more Fist Bump for us. We shall never receive a Fist Bump again. But anyway, another piece of the world restored. And we can finally head off to greener pastures as we head off to our boss arena. We got the key. Chaos Control. There we go. Now again, we are still getting like 4 keys per stage, so I bet you're wondering what that 4th arena is going to unlock. Well, you might just find out. But in the meantime, however, we are going to be introduced to a rather cool boss fight, and one that does actually have some pretty interesting Sonic Heroes trivia around it, so, well, I guess I might have given the game away entirely. So, ladies and dudes, this is the Metal Overlord. A pretty cool boss fight, and one that I actually really fucking enjoy. And, yeah. Again, you're pretty much utilizing the same technique that you would have been using throughout the stages, so again, a stage is teaching you in a safe environment how to do things. Oh, sequelitis, I notice game tropes and point them out. Okay, facetiousness aside though, again, you're pretty much utilizing the Doom Surf to take this thing down to size, and yeah, to come in with that Sonic Heroes trivia that I mentioned beforehand, yeah. Initially, the entirety of, well, Final Fortress and indeed the Metal Overlord boss fight was meant to take place with, you know, the arena submerged in, you know, underwater with Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles trying to take it down from there. You don't really tend to get that much of it, well, I mean, you do technically get it here, but yeah, for some reason it was changed to up in the sky for some reason, but it does kind of explain the rain and the, you know, very depressing atmosphere that, you know, Heroes had towards its endgame, which didn't really manifest in the final end, but anyway, all that aside though, again, you're pretty much just, you know, striking barrels towards its core, and indeed, once you make it up there, you know, via rings or jumping up there, yeah, pretty much laying the smackdown with your, you know, your Doom Blast beatdown. So, all in all, pretty good stuff. In fact, the only real negative that I really have towards, well, Neo Metal Sonic, in terms of his, appearance here, I mean, I do finally have him speak and have some sort of autonomy again, but, well, no disrespect to Ray Chase, who voices him in this game, but, to be honest, not quite a patch on Ryan Drummond's performance. I mean, again, he is only the second voice actor to have ever done it, and again, it is just for a boss fight here, so I'm not sure how harshly I can really judge him, but, I don't know, he just seems to more or less just sort of shout his lines like a petulant child as opposed to having any of that real sort of, like, malicious intent that, you know, Ryan Drummond gave with his performance. I don't know, there was a certain level of desperation that Drummond really gave in the sense of, like, oh no, I am the real Sonic and that sort of thing, but they try and have a Chase deliver with his, but it doesn't quite, I don't know, it just doesn't quite hit up. It's a serviceable voice, but I don't know. Maybe some better voice direction maybe could have served it a bit better to really sort of hammer in the anger. And I fucking hate this segment because I can never time my jumps right. I know you're meant to hit it when it starts sliding up, but I can never get the timing just right. I don't know, my perception skills are a bit odd when it starts to oscillate whenever he swings his tail at you, but yeah, I feel like if it wasn't for that death that I either suffered earlier or suffered a bit later, can't quite remember, probably would have ended up getting an A rank, or maybe if I had a few more rings to my person I might have done it, but alas, just an A rank for me. Boo-hoo. Oh yes, sick as hell cutscene time, go now, woohoo. But yeah, they're also using a slightly remixed version of, I believe, What I'm Made Of. You do actually get the original, believe it or not, so, you know, you're served well with both tracks if you, so choose, but, yeah, it's, quite a fun remix boss fight. I mean, it's certainly a step above the fucking first phase of Metal Overlord, you know, where you're using all three teams to sort of attack its, like, crystal things and basically playing a game of tennis with it. I mean, it completely shits all over Sonic Heroes gameplay-wise, so, all in all, pretty happy with it. But yeah, you can also tell which missiles you need to hit. Red, evil, blue, good to hit. So, yeah, game design 101. It might play rough. It might start giving you the business. But don't worry, you should be able to defeat this boss in no time flat, and you are rewarded with a sick as hell cutscene to earn your favour. Either way though, great choice of boss, great to see Neo Metal Sonic again. Shame about Ray Chase's voice, but yeah, all in all, pretty happy with it. Come on, Chaos Control, end so we can destroy the evil that is the Metal Overlord. An overlord of scrap, I say.